We've made it past the trade deadline into the month of August here in our Miami Marlins franchise here on MLB The Show 23. And now all hands are on deck for these last couple of months as we look to position ourselves well going into the postseason. The team has been outstanding since the start of July, and it's certainly a big switch because we had been struggling prior. We've got some big series, including a West Coast trip with the Dodgers and the Padres. We also play against the defending champion Tampa Bay Rays. So this month of August is going to be really pivotal for us in the division race, in which we've been trailing the Mets most of the year, but we've just recently passed them with our red-hot month, and we're currently 3.5 ahead of them at the moment. We made two moves at the deadline, the first of which our big trade to bolster the bullpen, acquiring Griffin Jax and Johan Duran from the Minnesota Twins. And then with those two guys being added to the bullpen, we didn't really need Devin Williams anymore, shipping him to the Rays for a pitching prospect along with Reese McGuire, who can swing the stick a little bit. He's going to be our backup catcher. So we're pretty healthy for the most part, other than Nick Fortes and then the recent injury to Max Meyer in the rotation, which led us to recalling Yuri Perez from AAA. Meyer had been pitching really well before he suffered an arm injury in the last episode against the Cincinnati Reds, and it happened right after the trade deadline to where we were not able to trade for a replacement if we wanted to, which sucks because Meyer's going to be out for the rest of the regular season, and there's a good chance we don't see him in the postseason. So Yuri Perez is definitely going to have to perform well, and in his first start back, he was okay. 5 1/3 innings, allowing 4 earned runs, getting the no decision in a win. His second game is here against the Rays. We're going to pitch in that one. But beforehand, I want to take a look at our draft picks. I teased this at the end of the last episode. Let's take a look at the ratings and potentials of all of our draft picks. And as you can see, it looks like we hit another draft out of the park. Headlined by shortstop Omar Nieve in the first round as a 94 potential. We had another A. We had 3 Bs, and nobody lower than 79. So I think it's fair to say that we had another great draft. Nieve is somebody who brings a lot of upside to the table. He's got good pop with his bat. I think the contact and the plate skills are going to come around. He's a ways to go in his development, and I thought he'd be a little bit better off the bat, but the upside is really good. We have some solid pitchers, including Wade Rockwell in the 4th round, who's a 65 overall with A potential. He looks like he could be an intriguing piece in what is already a very deep farm system with all of our pitchers. And then we got some solid position players too. Let's look at some of the highlights around the rest of the league. The Reds got 2 guys early on who I think are going to be able to contribute immediately. Steven Melendez was the projected number 1 pick. He ended up going 2nd. He looks good, but nothing spectacular per se with the Rockies. Yusniel Delgado does look spectacular with the Orioles, one of the best players in this draft. Frank Negron, we almost drafted him in the first round. He goes to the Rays. I think we made the right choice with Omar Nieve, who's quite a bit worse right off the bat, but it's harder to find depth in terms of position players as opposed to pitchers. Yusniel Armas was one of the highest rated projected players in this class. He looks a little disappointing, but I can't say the same for Pedro Chavez, who looks like a monster. Chavez was the number 1 player on our board, and we never really got a chance to get him, considering he was the 4th overall pick. But goddamn, he looks nasty. Chavez's 75 overall rating is the highest in this class. He's going to be nasty with Agustin De La Cruz in that lineup. His 97 potential is tied with William Watanabe, who was drafted in the final round by Seattle as the highest in the class. I'm curious to see if Watanabe, who's only a 49 overall, can potentially reach that ceiling or even reach where Pedro Chavez is right now. I think we had probably the best overall draft class in terms of getting depth down the board, along with some real upside with our top picks. So now let's focus on this series with the Rays, who, of course, did win the World Series last year. They're having another strong season this year. And as I said earlier, I want to pitch with Yuri Perez. I want to see what he's got. This is sort of Yuri Perez's final chance. If he doesn't prove himself now, when is he ever going to do it? He's been in the big leagues for 4 years. He's 23 years old. It has to happen at some point. We win the first game 6-4 against the Rays with former Tampa Bay pitcher Jeffrey Springs getting the win. Springs has been pitching really well as of recent, which has been good to see. And hopefully we can say the same about Yuri Perez over these final couple months of the year, with him getting his spot back in the rotation after being down in AAA for the last 2 months. He'll be facing off against Shane Baz, who was an all-star this year, so it should prove to be a challenging matchup against the defending World Series champions, who of course beat the Philadelphia Phillies in 6 games. And how did the Phillies get there? By beating us. So we'll see what the Marlins can do against a team who's been there and done that at the highest level in the postseason. As we take a look at both lineups, 1 to 9 for each squad. Regular starters for the most part today for Miami. As we take a look at the 23-year-old right-hander Eury Perez, who has all the talent in the world, but he just hasn't put it together. And he's been in the big leagues for a while. This is really his last chance to prove himself. And he did pretty well in AAA over the last couple of months, but it's time to do it at the highest level. Randy Arozarena with a grounder to third. Kim blocks it. The throw to first, not in time, and Arozarena is aboard with a base hit. If you remember, the Marlins highly contemplated signing Arozarena in the offseason. Here's Josh Lowe now up the middle. Hits it well into center field. And already, not a good start for Eury Perez, who has a whip right around 2 this year, allowing 2 base runners per inning. And here you go. 2 early base runners for the Predator. Wander Franco, who grounds it into a 5-4-3 double play. As Franco is retired, the talented shortstop in year 7. That's the age that he likes him. We'll see if Perez can get out of the first inning unscathed against Brandon Lau. Swinging a miss on the fastball. So Eury Perez makes it through the first inning, allowing 2 early hits, but gets out of it. Let's take a look at Shane Baz, who's had a phenomenal season this year in Tampa Bay, making the American League All-Star team. He was acquired a while back in that fleece of the deal with the Pirates for Chris Archer at the trade deadline, close to a decade ago at this point. 2.7 ERA, 1.16 whip. Baz has led the American League in pitching WAR for most of the year. Brian De La Cruz gets the game started off strong with a single into left. De La Cruz continuing to really be one of the most underrated players on this team this year. I feel like we haven't really given him his flowers, but he's been fantastic. 1-1 count here for Bichette, swinging a miss with De La Cruz going for second, and he's out of there. That'll wrap up the first inning. The Marlins tried to get De La Cruz in scoring position, but it doesn't work out as he's gunned down by Alfredo Herrera, the reigning World Series MVP. Herrera's quickly become the best catcher in baseball. The guy has a great bat, and defensively, he is a machine. Top 2, Tommy Edman, the former Cardinal, into center field as Robert cannot make the play. Rather than letting the ball drop for a base hit, he tries to make the big grab, and it's going to backfire as this ball rolls all the way to the wall, and Edmonds makes it to third with a triple. So the Rays are the runner 90 feet away from home. We'll see if they can drive him in, as that'll bring up Rhys Hines, who swings and misses. Dropped third strike, but Austin Wells will make the play. 2 away now. That'll bring up the number 8 hitter, that being Matt Thaiss, the first baseman. And he's going to hit this one sharply up the middle. Bichette cannot make the play. That'll go for a single. And the Tampa Bay Rays are on the board first here in South Beach as they lead it 1-0. The Rays already have 4 hits through the first 2 innings. Not ideal. As we move bottom 2, Bo Bichette gets another at-bat. Count is full. Bichette with a big swing and a miss as the ball rolls all the way to the batter's circle. And Bo is safe at first despite a great throw by Herrera. Bo Bichette should not have swung at that pitch, but he makes it to first anyway, so it's all good. That'll bring up Jazz Chisholm. Hits this one in between the shortstop and the third baseman for a single into left field. Here we go now. 2 runners aboard to start the inning. What a great opportunity to get some runs. Isaac Stu, the rookie, is up. He goes down looking on the fastball. Needs to be a little bit more aggressive there. I get that pitch was a little bit inside, but he probably should have looked to protect there. Full count, 2 away now for Austin Wells, the catcher. He's going to bloop this one into left field. It should be caught, and it will. The Marlins get 2 runners aboard to start the inning, and shocker, they don't score either of them, as it remains a 1-0 ball game. Let's see if Eury Perez can try to catch some stride here in the 3rd inning as he faces off against Josh Lowe. He rips this one well into left center field, and it will one hop off the wall. De La Cruz gets to it quickly, but not before Lowe makes it to second for a double. The Rays, now the runner in scoring position. We'll see if they can drive him in and add to their lead. Wander Franco rips this one into left field. That'll go for a hit. Runner looks to score. The throw from De La Cruz is not in time, and it's now 2-0. Wander Franco drives in a run. He also drives his date to middle school, and so it's a 2-0 ball game. Brandon Lau strikes out on the fastball. Big pitch by Perez, looking to get that confidence back. But Alfredo Herrera says, not so fast. Rips it into left center. That one is gone. And the Rays double their lead. It's now 4-0. I told you, this guy's the best catcher in the game without question. Herrera's 26th home run of the year. Tommy Edman now rips it into center. The Rays have 8 hits today. That's just too much. We're not even out of the 3rd inning yet. This is quickly becoming another disastrous outing for Yuri Perez, whose leash has got to be really short. Now, luckily, the Marlins will make it out of the inning, but still, not looking good. Ha-Seong Kim goes down looking on the fastball. 2 away now here for Luis Robert. He finds himself behind in the count, 1-2. And he's going to ground this one over to short. Wander Franco will look to make the throw, and he does. So as bad as Yuri Perez has been, Shane Baz has looked excellent. I know that doesn't look like Wander Franco, by the way. His rights were taken out of the game because he's a child predator. We don't need his rights in the game. Jordan Hicks will come in for the Marlins here in the 4th inning. Yuri Perez's day is done after just 3 innings. Hicks will retire the side, finished off by a Randy Arozarena ground out. So unlike Perez, Hicks keeps things stabilized as it remains a 4-0 contest. Let's go to the bottom of the 4th inning as the Marlins look to add some runs. They've got a runner on second. That's Woody Landry. He hit a double, but Jazz Chisholm's going to take a big swing and a miss. We'll see if the rookie Isaac Stu can look to score him in. As Stu hits this one sharply into the gap. That'll drop with ease, and the Marlins are on the board. Stu digging in for second. He'll be safe with no problem, and it's a 4-1 game as Isaac Stu gets an RBI double to put the Marlins finally on the board. Top 5, here's Josh Lowe. Takes a big swing and miss on the circle change. Good pitch by Hicks, continuing to produce. But now Wander Franco rips this one up the middle for a single. The 9th hit of the game for the Rays. That number 9, I think Wander Franco likes it. So Franco is aboard now, and so that will bring up Brandon Lau, the cleanup hitter, who's got an opportunity to really break this game open. But he goes down looking on the fastball, clocking in at 99. As we go to the bottom of the 5th, Austin Wells leads things off ahead in the count, takes a walk. And so the Marlins start the inning with a base runner as they continue to look to take a stab into this lead. Ha-Seong Kim up next, getting the start at 3rd base today as he grounds this one over to 3rd, and it'll be a 5-4-3 double play. The Marlins have not gotten a ton of base runners today, so right when they get one, for that to happen is not ideal. Let's move into the 6th now. Griffin Jax coming into the game, one of the 2 relievers who the Marlins got at the trade deadline from the Minnesota Twins. We'll see what Jax can do as he faces off against Thais with a grounder to short. Bichette makes the play clean, and Griffin Jax retires the side. The last 3 innings with the Marlins bullpen have looked a lot better than the first 3 with Yuri Perez pitching. Middle of the order due up for the Marlins, a big opportunity to strike, and it'll be against a reliever, Peter Lambert, who has not had a good year, 5.54 ERA. This is the opportunity to strike and bring yourselves back within the game. Luis Robert on a full count draws a walk. Good start. There's base runner number 1. That'll bring up Woody Landry, who had a hit and scored in his last at-bat, as Woody connects on a ball. Liner into right field. 109 off the bat as it one hops off the wall, looking for another double. Luis Robert will score with ease, and it's a 4-2 ball game. Already a quick start with Shane Baz out of the game. The Marlins offense looking strong early. Jazz Chisholm now up. Full count. Strikes out on the changeup. I think that would have been ball 4 had he let it go, but it curves down, and he bites. Isaac Stu is now up, had a hit, and drove in Woody Landry in his last at-bat, looking to do the same. He does not. He goes down looking on the fastball. That pitch looked high. It looked inside, but Lambert places it perfectly in the strike zone as we go to the 7th, trailing by 2 with Camilo Doval coming into the game. Obviously, the start to his season was really bad, but over the last couple of months, he's pitched a lot more like the Camilo Doval we all know and love, as he starts by striking out Isaac Paredes, the talented third baseman. Randy Arozarena now into left field. That one goes off the wall. Arozarena digs in for second. Solid throw by De La Cruz, but not before Randy Arozarena reaches scoring position. We'll see if the Rays can drive him in. Randy guns for third on a slow jump. He's safe. I think the throw from Wells was a little offline, and Ha-Seong Kim couldn't really bring it in. If the throw was good, that's probably an out. So the following runner would be walked, and then Wander Franco singles him in. Wander Franco today with 3 singles. Thankfully, they're not 3 single minors. Brendan Lau is up now. He rips this one into center field. That'll go for a hit. Josh Lowe will look to score, and a really solid throw from Robert is not in time. It's now 6-2. Camilo Doval has not looked very good. He's going to be yanked out of the game, and it's time for Paul Sewald to pitch. 2.36 ERA on the year for Sewald, who's also been pitching really well over the last couple of months. As Herrera bounces this one up the middle, that'll drive in another run, and it's now 7-2. The runs keep on coming for Tampa, who has driven in 3 here in the 8th inning, trying to really take this game out of reach for the Marlins. Rhys Hines now with 2 away, strikes out on the slider, so Sewald gets out of the inning, but the Tampa Bay Rays drive in 3. They're looking good, up 7-2. And we'll see what the Marlins can do here in the bottom of the 7th inning, trailing by 5. Jesus Sanchez will lead things off. He's been kind of quiet today, 0 for 2, pair of strikeouts as he grounds it down the line. Nice play by Matt Thays to dive on the ball and get the out at first. A couple batters later, it's Ha-Seong Kim. He also hasn't done much of anything today, 0 for 2 offensively. The pitch from Lambert. Ooh, that's a tough one. Again, another pitch that's kind of on the edge of the strike zone. It looks like a ball. The Marlins have really tried to be disciplined at the plate today, and it really hasn't worked out. They've striken out looking a number of times, and I think they're definitely going to be aggressive down the stretch. Top 8. Thays goes down swinging on the 2-seamer. Good pitch by Sewald. Looking to get through the rest of the inning unscathed as Lowe hits this one into left field. De La Cruz makes the grab. A good inning and 2/3 for Paul Sewald. He allows a couple of hits, but is able to pad the bleeding a little bit as we go into the bottom of the 8th. Woody Landry is like the only guy on this offense who's been good, and he's going to make another play here, ripping a double into the opposite field. Woody Landry now with 3 extra base hits today, and teams continue to play the shift in the outfield on him, and I just don't get it. He's a really good opposite field hitter. Could that double start a nice little 2-out rally for the Marlins? It sure will! Bo Bichette crushes this ball into left center field. No doubt about it. The Marlins get 2 back, and it's now 7-4. Bo Bichette continuing his fantastic season. He's been the best player on this offense all year long. His 31st of the year. He pimps the home run the entire way. He knew it was gone as soon as it hit the bat. And the Marlins are back in the game, maybe, just maybe. The Rays are going to make a pitching change, bringing in a familiar face. It's Devin Williams, the former Marlin, coming out of the bullpen, traded to the Rays just this past week at the deadline, looking to get revenge on his old squad. We'll see if the Marlins can keep this 2-out rally going. That'll start with Jazz Chisholm. Draws a walk. Not a bad start. So the Marlins get another base runner. That will bring up the rookie, Isaac Stu. Count once again is full. Williams having trouble commanding the strike zone as Stu draws a walk. So Devin Williams comes into the game. He walks 2, and now the tying run is up to bat. What an opportunity for Jesus Sanchez, who started his career in Tampa Bay with the Rays. Grounds it to first. Good play by Matt Thays. This time the shift really works out for Tampa Bay. The Marlins get 2, but it feels like they could have gotten more, trailing 7-4 off of this 2-run blast by Bo Bichette. Reynaldo Lopez will come into the game here for the Marlins in the 9th inning. We'll see if he can keep the deficit at 3. Brandon Lau checks his swing on the slider. Umpire says he went around for the 2nd out of the inning. Alfredo Herrera gets plunked, so he will put himself aboard. That'll bring up Tommy Edman. He strikes out on the circle change. Good inning for Reynaldo Lopez as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning with a 3-run deficit. And the all-star closer, Jason Adam, is in for the save. Unlike Devin Williams, Jason Adam definitely deserved his all-star appearance this year. He was the American League Reliever of the Year a season ago, and he's been arguably even better this year. Aurelvis Martinez up first. He's coming off the bench here as he grounds out to second for out number 1. Alec Bohm also coming off the bench here in the 9-hole. Count is full. Strikes out on the circle change. That would have been ball 4. The Marlins trying to be aggressive, and it backfires. So now the game will come down to the leadoff man, Brian De La Cruz, the 2-2. Swing and a miss on the slider, and the Tampa Bay Rays win it by the final score of 7-4. Nothing really went too well for the Marlins today. The pitching, especially the starting pitching, was not great. The offense was very pedestrian. The defense was mediocre. I mean, you just have one of those games where nothing really clicks, and it's the month of August. We can afford a loss here, but it does suck knowing that really nobody stood out for the most part. Tampa Bay had some guys play really well. Alfredo Herrera is a beast. Wander Franco with 3 base hits, but he's a child predator, so that negates all of his talent. As for the Marlins, the only guy who was really good today was Woody Landry, 3 for 4 with 3 doubles. Bichette with a nice homer. The bullpen, other than Camilo Duvall, was pretty good, I guess, but that's really about it. So after allowing 3 hits to a guy who's probably been told by Chris Hansen to take a seat, we are going to simulate our next 10 games, wrapping up the series with the Rays. Then we've got the Diamondbacks at home, the Phillies at home, an LCS rematch, and then the Diamondbacks on the road, starting an 11-game West Coast road trip. During our simulation, Tobias Starr breaks his forearm. He'll be out for the rest of the year. This is the relief pitching prospect that we got from the Rays in the Devin Williams trade, and now he's going to be out until next year, which kind of sucks, but what can you really do? He'll go on the 60-day IL. During the games we simulated, we ended up going 6-4, which is not bad at all. We wrap up the Rays series with a win. We take 2 against Arizona, only 1 against the Phillies, and then 2 more against the Diamondbacks. Yuri Perez in his 2 starts was He wasn't horrible, but he definitely wasn't good either. He's continuing to allow too many base runners, and his ERA is staying right at around 7. So he's been back for 4 starts, and it's been much of the same with him, which is not what we wanted to see. If Yuri Perez wants any chance of being in this rotation in the month of September, and God forbid in the playoffs, he's going to have to perform. Now, I do want to highlight a guy who has been performing well as of recent, and that's Aurelvis Martinez. I was looking at the box score at this crazy 13-12 win against the Diamondbacks. We were down by 5 going into the bottom of the 8th inning and ended up winning. The star of this game was Aurelvis Martinez, who hit 2 home runs. He drove in 6 and was a big reason why we ended up getting the win. Martinez, during the 10-game stretch that we simulated, really caught fire. It wasn't just this game hitting 2 home runs and driving in 6. This loss against the Phillies, he goes deep. The very next day against the Phillies, he goes deep, 1 for 1 with a 2-run homer and 2 walks. It's now 85 at-bats that he's been producing. It's no longer a small sample size. The guy is flat out hitting the ball. He's going to be playing a lot going forward because he has absolutely earned it. He's been one of our best offensive players considering the sample size, and he's going to get an opportunity to start a lot of games down the stretch and possibly be a key contributor for us in the playoffs, and hopefully he can continue to perform in this big stretch. We're 4 games ahead in the division against the Mets. We have the 2nd best record in baseball, but we're playing the teams we're sandwiched in between in 1st and 3rd on the road. There's a good shot we see one or both the Dodgers and the Padres in the playoffs, and we've got to perform on the road. If we're a good team, we take 4 out of our next 7 games, hopefully. So we're going to simulate this first game against the Dodgers. Sandy Alcantara against Shohei Ohtani. Should be a great pitching matchup, and we get the job done, winning 4-2. Another great start by Sandy, who continues to be fantastic. He leads all pitchers in pitching WAR in the National League by a lot. Who's in second place? It's Edward Cabrera, who's the Cy Young favorite in the NL. I feel like Sandy should be getting more Cy Young love, but I'm happy Cabrera's getting what he deserves because I feel like he should have won it last year. Obviously, he got second. This year, he looks like the runaway favorite. Who's right behind him? It's Kyle Wright, who is going to be starting in this game for the Dodgers against Edward Cabrera. At the start of last year, it was these 2 guys atop the Cy Young race, Wright obviously pitching for Atlanta. And I remember a game in specific when these 2 guys faced off against each other at the heat of that race, and Edward Cabrera significantly outplayed him, so hopefully the same result can happen tonight. Obviously, neither of these guys won the Cy Young last year. That went to Roki Sasaki with the Cubs. But it looks like one of these 2 guys will win it this year. Wright has been on fire for the Dodgers, but Edward Cabrera has been on fire since the start of last year. The Marlins lineup is definitely going to look a little bit different today. Alec Bohm is getting the day off. Jesus Sanchez is getting the day off. And Woody Landry suffered a minor foot injury in the first game of this series against the Dodgers. It's nothing serious, but out of precaution, he will not play today. So here's a look at Kyle Wright getting the start for the Dodgers, and he's been pitching very well over the last couple of months. Signed this winter from the Atlanta Braves. He's coming off a career year last year and has picked off right where he left off. It looks like Wright will get through the first pretty easily as Jazz Chisholm pops it up into foul territory, and it will be hauled in by Ramon Urias. Let's go to the bottom of the first, take a look at Edward Cabrera, who has obviously been nothing short of fantastic this year. The comfortable Cy Young frontrunner in the National League, facing off against one of the best lineups in the NL. This Dodgers team significantly better than they were a year ago. Here is Cannon Smith-Njigba with a single into left field. I feel like the Smith-Njigba brothers like to play well against our teams. Cannon Smith-Njigba rips a base hit here. Jackson Smith-Njigba always dominates whenever he plays the St. Louis Dragons. Here it's not going to matter because Michael Busch grounds into a double play. Good job by the infield to quickly turn two as we go top two. Bo Bichette swinging a miss on the sinker. Good pitch by Kyle Wright inside, clocking in at 95. Now we go bottom two. The reigning National League MVP, O'Neal Cruz, strikes out on the circle change. That'll bring up Ramon Urias, the former Oriole, with two away. Full count pitch on its way. And this one's going to be a grounder to short. Should be a routine play, but Bichette bobbles it. Throw to first, not in time, and that'll be called an E6. Poor defensive play there by Bichette to give the Dodgers a three-base runner. That'll bring up Baxter. Grounder to short. And Bichette misplays it again! Back-to-back. Horrible defensive plays from Bo Bichette. They're going to call that a base hit. I have no idea how. If Bo Bichette fields that cleanly, it's an out. That should be 2 errors against him. 2 on, 2 away for Austin Hayes, who strikes out on the curveball. Edward Cabrera had to get 5 outs in that inning, and to his credit, he did, with no score change as we go top 3. Gennaro Miller getting the start. Jesus Sanchez has been playing a lot lately. The Marlins wanted to give him a day off, but unfortunately Miller pops this one up over to Ramon Urias. 3 innings, 0 base runners for the Marlins. It's been a perfect 9 up, 9 down for Kyle Wright. But unfortunately for him, Edward Cabrera has looked just as good, only really allowing 1 hit, albeit one of the Bo Bichette errors was counted as a hit. This time, Bichette does actually make the play to start the inning against Francisco Mejia. That'll bring up Cannon Smith-Njigba. He goes down looking on the curveball. Smith-Njigba's hitting around 220 this year. I don't really know why he's leading off for them, but the Dodgers are winning games. I'm not going to question what they're doing. Michael Busch now up. The talented infielder count is full. He goes down looking on the sinker. We've got ourselves a pitching duel between Kyle Wright and Edward Cabrera. 2 guys have kind of become rivals a little bit, and so far they are dominating in their start against each other. Top 4. Brian De La Cruz on the top of the order, back up for the Marlins. Just looking to get anything going offensively. Just a base runner, please. But he strikes out on the sinker. 2 away now for Jazz Chisholm. Count is 2-1. And Jazz hits this one up the middle. That'll go for a base hit. Finally, some offense. The first base runner of the day for the Marlins is the perfect game and no-hitter is snapped here in the 4th inning for Kyle Wright. Can the Marlins possibly do some damage with this runner on base? No. Bo Bichette goes down looking on the slurve. That pitch was inside. I think that's a bad call, but life is unfair. Scoreless through the middle of the 4th inning. We'll see if Edward Cabrera can continue his dominance in the bottom half of the inning against Mookie Betts. He skies this one high into left field. De La Cruz chases after it at the track. Near the wall, it is caught. 4 scoreless for both Kyle Wright and Edward Cabrera. When will one of these offenses break forward? These units are too talented to be getting shut out like this. You'd think it's only a matter of time, right? Top of the 5th, Jacob Berry up with 1 away. Berry quietly has been playing pretty well as of recent. Hits this one hard, but a little too hard as it's caught in center field by Deshaun Baxter for out number 2. That'll bring up Aurelvis Martinez, who, of course, as we said, is going to be playing more with how well he's performed. Rips it into the gap. 104 off the bat. Martinez into second with a double. And the Marlins have a runner in scoring position. A big opportunity to finally get in a run. That'll bring in the catcher, Reese McGuire, looking to put the Marlins on the board. 1-1 pitch. And Reese McGuire jacks this one off into right field. No doubt about it, it's gone. His first home run of the year, and the Marlins lead it 2-0. All they needed is Reese McGuire to rub one out there at the plate and crush it into right field as he tugs that one home. The bat's got some morning wood for Reese McGuire. It's not November, and he's now locked in, folks. as the Marlins are on the board. We'll see if the offensive outpour can keep going as Gennaro Miller deflects this one off of Kyle Wright's rear end. Miller's got some speed. He's safe at first with an infield single. Kyle Wright appears to be a little bit banged up. It looks like he's going to try to tough it out, stay in the ball game. It looked like his lower thigh area, his butt, got hit by the ball, but he's going to stay in the game as he faces off against Bryan De La Cruz in the top of the order. Count is 1-1 here for De La Cruz, and he's going to sky this one into right field, and it is caught. But a good inning, though, as Reese McGuire jerks one out nearly into the parking lot. Reese McGuire knows a thing or two about jerking one out in the parking lot. And we go bottom 5. Ramon Urias strikes out looking on the sinker. Good pitch by Edward Cabrera, who, unlike Kyle Wright, hopefully will keep his strong start going. Now facing off against another former Baltimore Oriole. It's the outfielder Austin Hayes behind 1 and 2. Got him on the check swing. Umpire says, "You went around, buddy." 5 scoreless innings for Edward Cabrera, who is looking the part here, trying to prove himself that he is the worthy Cy Young winner over Kyle Wright. And we move into the 6th inning, 4-2 ball game with just 6 combined hits. Luis Robert leads things off for the Marlins. We'll see if Miami's offense can keep things going. Robert lines this one into right field. That one should drop easily as it bounces over the wall for a ground rule double. And so the Marlins get a runner in scoring position. That'll bring up Jazz Chisholm, who overall has been pretty good since the injury, and his impact has significantly helped winning. Chisholm skies this ball high and deep into center field. Baxter at the track, at the wall. It is gone! 2-run blast for Jazz Chisholm. And the Marlins double their lead. It's now 4-0. Jazz with his 13th home run of the season. And so it looks like the Marlins might have yanked Kyle Wright out of the ball game. Kyle Wright looked dominant early in this one. He had a perfect game, nearly go 4 innings. He had the shutout nearly last 5. But the Marlins get some base runners. They get a pair of homers from McGuire and Jazz Chisholm. And Kyle Wright's day is done. 5 innings, 4 earned runs. He looked like a Cy Young in the first half of his start, but certainly not at the end. Landon Knack will come in for the Dodgers, 5.08 ERA. He's an innings eater. He can throw 2-3 innings at a time. We'll see how much the Dodgers are able to get out of him today, as Bo Bichette will lead things off for the Marlins, batting in the cleanup spot. Bichette rips this one into right field. That's going to drop, and it'll once again bounce over the short fence for a ground rule double. So that'll bring a runner in scoring position for the rookie, Isaac Stu, who, for his age at 19 years old, he's one of the only clutch hitters in this lineup. Stu hits this one well into right center. Back at the track, at the wall, it's gone! Isaac Stu with another 2-run homer, and it's now 6-0. I'm pretty sure this is the first home run I've hit with Isaac Stu in-game. I've had like 5 or 6 with him that reached the warning track and look like they're going to go out. I think Isaac Stu is the king of almost home runs, but thankfully that one actually makes it over. There's still nobody out here in the 6th inning. The Marlins are really starting to dominate. Jacob Berry goes down looking on the low fastball. It's been an awfully big strike zone tonight. I can't say I agree with that call either. That'll bring up Reese McGuire, who homered in his last at-bat with 2 away. McGuire lines this one into center, but it is caught. Good inning, though, with a pair of 2-run homers by Jazz Chisholm and Isaac Stu as we go bottom 6. Here is Francisco Mejia. Gets that one to short. Bichette blocks it, but is unable to make the play. And the Dodgers get a runner on base for the first time since the 2nd inning. With nobody out in the top of the order up, the Dodgers have a nice opportunity now with 2 runners on. Bush grounds it to second, and that is a gigantic double play for the Marlins, 4-6-3. They needed that one, but they've still got to get the following batter out. It's Brendan Donovan, who strikes out on the fastball. 6 scoreless innings for Edward Cabrera. The Dodgers do miss Shohei Ohtani right now. He's getting the day off after pitching yesterday. But even if Ohtani was in the lineup, I'm sure he'd be getting dominated by the ultra-talented Edward Cabrera as well. Let's go top 7, 6-0 ball game. Gennaro Miller leads things off. He draws a walk, so that'll give the Marlins a base runner here for the top of the lineup. Bryan De La Cruz up for Miami, quiet 0 for 3 today. He rips this one down the line, though. That one is fair, and Miller's going to make it to third. De La Cruz still on his feet. The right fielder completely misplays it, so De La Cruz is going to actually get a triple. Obviously, that'll score Miller, and it's a 7-0 ball game. Poor defense there by the Dodgers as De La Cruz hits just his second triple of the year. Knack will be taken out of the game. He'll be replaced by Ryan Pepio, another innings eater. 82 2/3 in 33 games this year with an ERA right around 4. He hasn't been too bad this year for the Dodgers as he looks to pad the bleeding. But Luis Robert has other plans. The only bleeding that's going on here is the ball gushing blood because it just got launched into left center field. It's now 9-0. Robert with a 2-run blast, his 24th of the year. Remember when we were in the 5th inning and this game was scoreless? Yeah, that was fun. The Marlins lead 9-0 with nobody out here in the 7th, and the base runners are going to keep on coming. Jazz Chisholm draws a walk, so that'll bring up a runner here for Isaac Stu. Homer in his last at bat. He flies this one into center. That one will be caught, and it seems like the lineup is starting to cool off a little bit, but still very, very impressive. Now, unfortunately for the Dodgers, things are just going to get worse as Ryan Pepio appears to have hurt something in his hand, and he'll be replaced by the lefty, Jalen Beeks, who looks to get the Dodgers out of the inning. Beeks will face off against Alec Boehm. Coming in as a pinch hitter, he obviously hits lefties well, hits it sharply into center, but it is caught by Deshaun Baxter. The Marlins get 3 more with an RBI triple by Brian De La Cruz and a 2-run homer by Luis Robert. Here is O'Neal Cruz leading off the bottom of the 7th. He hits this ball high and deep into right field. Miller at the track, at the wall, it's gone! The Dodgers are on the board. Chris Paul hits a huge 3 to cut the lead to 43. That's O'Neal Cruz's 22nd home run of the year. Now, if this game was 2-1 or 3-1, or if it was close, Edward Cabrera would stay in. I'm confident that he would continue to pitch well, but it's 9-1. The Marlins appear to have this game won. Cabrera had a great start. Let's not waste his arm anymore. He'll be taken out here. Another Cy Young-esque performance by Cabrera, who looks frustrated with himself, just showing the high standards that he holds for himself, clearly outperforming Kyle Wright today. And he'll be replaced by the submarine knuckleball throwing lefty, Adonis Takadopoulos, who's been inconsistent this year, but he has had a pretty good month of August. Here he is against Mookie Betts, who beats the shift to a T. Down the line in right field, that should go for a double. And so Mookie Betts is in scoring position with nobody out as the Dodgers look to add to their lead. We'll see if they can do it and potentially start a rally. Ramon Arias with a single into right field. Mookie Betts will hold up at third, and so now there's a pair of runners on the corners. That'll bring it Baxter. Lines it to third. What a play by Boehm! To second. To first. It's a 5-4-3 double play, and yes, the Dodgers do get a run. But goddamn, what a play by Alec Boehm at the hot corner with a quick throw to second and a quick throw to first. So it's 9-2, and we're going to move into the bottom of the 9th inning. Same score. It's time for Paul Sewald to pitch and finish this game out for the Marlins. O'Neal Cruz homered in his last at-bat. Might have just homered again as he rips it into left. That one will drop off the wall. De La Cruz unable to make the play. Cruz, with his 99 speed, heads to third. O'Neal Cruz is a unicorn. He's a 6'7" shortstop who's faster than just about anybody. He hits nukes farther than just about anybody. He's different. Ramon Arias grounds out to third. Run scores, though, and it's now 9-3. 2 away for Deshaun Baxter. Another grounder to third. Busy game for Boehm here in these last couple of innings. Makes the throw to first, and the Marlins win it 9-3. The offense was pretty bad for like 6 innings today, but we were on fire in the middle of this game. We had, I think, 4 home runs, all of which drove in multiple runners. And thus the Marlins get the win here 9-3 on the road, officially winning this series against the Dodgers, considering we already won the first game. So as long as we don't lose by 10 in game 3, then I would say this was a pretty successful series against LA. Notable standouts include Luis Robert. He had 2 hits, 2 RBIs, and a homer. Jazz Chisholm also had 2 hits, 2 RBIs, and a homer. Isaac Stu and Reese McGuire had the other homers, also driving in 2 runs, while De La Cruz had an RBI triple. Not too often a team has 4 home runs in a game, and they're all multi-run homers. Edward Cabrera was great, 6 innings, 5 base runners, really should have been 4. I wouldn't count one of those hits because it was a bad defensive play by Bichette. Other than allowing the home run by O'Neal Cruz in the 7th, Cabrera was phenomenal. I do have to give Kyle Wright credit. He was really good early in this game, but then he just completely fell off the face of the earth. And the Dodgers couldn't really recover. That'll certainly help out the prospect of Edward Cabrera winning the Cy Young as he bridges the gap between himself and Kyle Wright even further. Let's see if we can get the sweep against the Dodgers here with Tyrell Berry on the mound against Tony Gonsolin, and we do not. We lose 6-1. So we don't get the sweep, but we win 2 of 3. That'll bring us to the series against San Diego, which we will start with in the next episode. 4 games at Petco Park, the teams with the 2 best records in baseball. NLCS preview? That'd be a pretty fun series, and we will get a preview of it with 4 games in San Diego. I hope everybody enjoyed the episode. Certainly a fun one here as the Marlins continue to play great baseball. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.